But really what people want, Ilya, what people want, Randy, is the T word, transformation.
Yes,
And when,
because that's
and
long
again,
lasting. That's why that's long
yeah,
lasting.
that's it. So I told you something that happened to me more than 60 years ago. I can still see him. His name is Elijah, by the way.
Ooh.
I mean, this is an angel sent to me. And in the 3 years that I sold papers, I was there with Elijah almost every single game. I made very good money for a kid. I was making averaging what they would call today $30 an hour for 2 hours work. Plus, I got to
Wow.
see Red Sox game for free because I'm the kid, and it wasn't the Red Sox in the same way they are today. I saw Ted Williams play his last game. I saw Carl Yastrzemski play his first game. The point is what you're asking. These make lasting impressions when you have great role models. Seek out great role models.
Welcome to the Kindness Factor podcast, sharing life-changing personal stories of the transformational impact of deep kindness. Hosted by
Dr. Ilya, the happiness doctor.
and Randy McNeely, the kindness giver. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to another episode of the Kindness Factor podcast. I'm Randy McNeely, known as the Kindness Giver, joined by my amazing co-host, Dr. Ilya Gorgoris, the Happiness Doctor, and we are thrilled today to have the chance to have the one and only Master, the King of Joy, Barry Shore, in our studio with us. We're so grateful to have you with us today, Barry. Thank you for joining us.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good looking people. Now, fabulous Randy, amazing Ilya. How can I make the categorical statement? All the thousands, if not tens of thousands of people that will be listening and watching to this are all good looking, because by definition, if they tuned into the kindness factor, that means they're always looking for and finding the good in life. Looking for and finding the good in life. That's the definition of a good looking person, right?
Right.
Love that, Barry. I want to share with our audience just a little bit more about you. And we're going to talk about Barry because he's, as you can tell, he's the kind of guy you cannot be in a room with Barry for 30 seconds or even talk to Barry for 30 seconds without feeling like you just want to give the guy a hug. Yeah, I mean, he is the king of acronyms, by the way. So HUG for him stands for heartfelt. I got it, Barry. Heartfelt, unlimited giving. Great big hugs. Barry is the author of an amazing book called The Joy of Living, and it's how to conquer stress. He's also the author of the new book called Shift, and he has a website, his website, barryshore.com, where you can find out all kinds of wonderful information about him. But I need to share just a couple other things. He's the founder of a great organization called EinsteinCares.com, about which you're going to hear a lot more. It's a charity, or got a mission to give $1 billion to charity without costing the giver a penny. He's also a mental wellness activist. Due to his recovery from being a quadriplegic. Yes, you heard that. He's recovered from being a quadriplegic. He's also a philanthropist. He's a multi-patent holding entrepreneur. And Barry's also a speaker, author, podcaster. And his podcast, by the way, has been downloaded millions of times and reaches hundreds of thousands of people every week. It's in the top 2% of all podcasts with millions of downloads, heard by 100,000 people worldwide weekly. His latest book, which I mentioned earlier, Shift, is available with his other best-selling books on Amazon and at barryshore.com. Barry Shore, thank you for joining us today. And I think Ilya has something quick that he wants to say.
And just to add to this fabulous bio, ladies and gentlemen, Barry Shore, you can clearly, and you will see in the next half an hour, lacks enthusiasm and happiness and joy.
Yeah, you can tell. You'll be really bored.
You can tell. You'll find out soon.
You'll be really bored by the time we're done because Barry's just flat all the time.
I know, really. Show some affect, Barry. Like, show us who you are, really. It's like, stop playing it so tight, close to the vest, man. So
So
great to have you on
I
the
have
show.
two words for you guys who I love dearly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And here's why. Thank is an amazing acronym that stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness.
Wow.
Love that.
Harmonize and nurture kindness. That's what
And how
thank
true is that?
stands for. So thank you. I am humbled and honored to be together today and to open up these channels of goodness, what I call a cog. Everybody thinks of a cog like a little piece in a big machine. But really, when you understand who you are, you're a cog. It stands for channel of goodness,
Wow.
child of God. When you recognize you're a child of God and a channel of goodness, your entire life, every moment of your existence is given forth in giving. And giving is the biggest and most important muscle in the human being. Nothing else. When you learn how to give willingly and receive graciously, then you can be in the same world with Randy and Ilya and the amazing people, everybody listening, that is making the kindness movement what I call a shift in the energy of the planet. That's what we're really here to do, right? We want to
Exactly.
shift the energy of the planet because there are some rumblings right now, the bit of darkness. We can just shift it. Oh, shift. And as I say in my book, I've been working with people now for 4.5 decades. And I can tell you, work with people come to me, they're already very successful on paper. They have issues. That's why they come. They want to refine themselves. 97.2% of all the people I begin working with, they drop the F and shift and the other stuff happens. So you're going to be F and careful with your Fs. You want to shift your perspective, keep the F there just slightly. When you do that, now you open up those channels of goodness and you become that giver. And then kindness flows directly through you. That's
Oh
how
my
to live
gosh.
life to the full.
And he can just drop the mic right now, we'd be done. But there's
That's what
more.
I was just
There's
thinking.
more. There's more. And Barry is truly a titan. I'm Greek, so titan is Greek in Greek mythology. He's a titan of kindness. Like really, his heart is bigger than his mouth, and that says a lot.
Yeah, the big mouth. And he's known to, can ask my wife, married for 47 years. She'll absolutely agree with you, Ilya.
So, but Barry, I mean, you are a kindness titan, but you must have been on the receiving end of somebody else's kindness to begin with in your life. I don't know when that happened exactly in your trajectory, but who did that for you first? Like who? What's your like your biggest memory or your when you were on the receiving end before you became a kindness titan?
Yeah,
So,
who's your kindness hero, Barry? Who's
Yeah.
someone that stepped in and became a kindness hero in your life?
so it's going to be cliche, and then I'll tell you the answer and I'll tell you why. The answer is my mother. Now, why?
Mine too, by the way. So just so you know, it's not as cliche. I feel that exactly the same way about my mom.
I do
100%.
too. I'm a mama's
Thank you.
boy.
Yes. And
Ditto.
I'll tell you specifically in our situation. So my mother, as you said, was a titan of kindness and giving. My mother was born with a red wine stain over 3/4 of her face. Now, I'm 75 years chronologically, so she was born 25, look, 100 years ago. Imagine, bullying in school today is an issue, right? But 100 years ago was ancient history. Imagine being a girl and having red wine stain. I mean, it's odd looking. And what do you do? And did people make fun of her and such like that? She told me, yes, hello. She went to her mother, who was I only saw a pic. I actually met my grandmother once, this particular grandmother, and she was a very imposing figure, very large, had white hair, but a big smile, and in addition, a big smile. And she told my mother she has two choices. You can either allow these things to internalize into you and let it affect you, or you can internalize it and use it for good. Your choice, Francis. That's my mother's name. Francis, your choice. And my mother said, it took her a number of years, obviously, growing up. By the time she was 11 or 12, she had already made the conscious choice to
Mm,
use
mm.
anything that came her way into, like jujitsu, use that energy and create goodness from it.
Wow.
She obviously, we found this out later. She got married. She has 3 kids. I'm the oldest, firstborn boy in a nice Jewish family. It's a great place to be. 2 younger sisters. And this was my mother. So my father saw in her great beauty because it went beyond the physical. It's quite amazing to be nurtured in such a loving relationship, both my parents and with my sisters. And it was that unspoken aspect of my mother that gave us this pathway of kindness. So she's definitely my hero, and she's a tower of strength. So when I became a quadriplegic overnight, which was about 20 years ago, again, standing up in the morning, completely healthy and hearty, and in the evening, I'm in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed from the neck down, not an automobile accident, not a spinal injury, rare disease, never heard of the day before, takes over my body. I can only communicate by blinking my eyes. Nothing in my body moved. I was
Wow.
144 days in the hospital. 144 days in the hospital. I was in a hospital bed in my own home for 2 years. I couldn't move. 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs, my hips and my ankles, and that was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So as they say, look like Moses, and I have this great staff with me. And I tell people, you should see what we do in traffic. Whoa, park. And but through it all, my hero, my tower of strength was the image of my mother saying, it's good. You'll be fine. You'll do well. Keep channeling positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant energy. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So, Barry, you've just given me a whole bunch of different things to think about. I can't help but wonder, is there some specific experience, and you may not be able to point to specific experience, but because there's probably multiple experiences, something that your mother said or did to you or for you that specifically stands out in your mind, and you think back on that experience and it really triggered some kind of inspiration in you to want to think or to want to choose like she did. I'm going to be kind and choose to follow her example.
I'm sure there are many. I mean, that's the tough part. I'm sure your mom had many acts of kindness and service towards you, especially even when you were struggling.
So
So,
I will tell you, there is something that it's a great little story. So I grew up in a wonderful place called Brookline, Massachusetts. This is a global experience, so people should Google it. Brookline, Massachusetts. It's adjacent to Boston, and I grew up in the shadow of Fenway Park. So anybody who knows anything about baseball and sports, Fenway Park, wow. It's a great place, great stories. I used to sell newspapers outside of Fenway Park, and I went to hundreds and hundreds of ball games while I was 11, 12, and 13. What an amazing existence as a kid. So in Brookline, we lived in a wonderful street, lots of good people, neighbors, and such like that. Just down the beginning of the street was something called the Star Market, or as we say in Bostonian, Star Market. Anybody who knows anything about New England accents. So that's where we shopped. Okay, it's a great little grocery store. I mean, relatively small compared to things today. And that's where we were for years and years. One day, the manager of the store comes over to my mother and ask her, Mrs. Shore, we're about to embark on something, a new idea in the store. It's called the courtesy booth. And we would like to ask you if you would consider working in the courtesy booth. Now, what's the courtesy booth? It's a person that stands there in the booth like a concierge. Imagine that. This goes back, 50, 60 years, and just deals with people. Anybody's having an issue, and not just asking where the cereal is and what aisle, but come over and talk and say, we want you because you're the essence of kindness. So my
man, they
mother,
were way ahead of their time to do something like that.
yes. Oh, I'll tell
Wow.
you, I'll tell you the upshot of the story. So she came home. We had a family meeting and says, "What do you think, kids?" Because that means she'll be away for a number of hours during the day, a few days away. Okay. We said, "Wow, we love it. Mom's going to be the currency booth person of the Star Market. How cool is that?" Okay. And she did it. And she did it for, I think, 6 years, maybe even 7. The fast forward, what happened is it was so successful that this particular chain instituted it in all of their stores. They had 11 or 12 stores at the time. It was a big gig in the Boston area. And when my mother left, she told them she was going to leave the time, they gave her a banquet. And the president of the company there, they gave her, thank God, a bit of a check, but they gave her some beautiful Steuben glass. Anybody, Steuben, Steube. I look up Steuben glass, beautiful bowls, such, and told stories about my mother in the currency booth and how it did shift perspective of people coming in shopping for groceries and encountering a human being. So it became less of just transactional and it became transformational. So that
Why did they do
people,
that now, Barry? We should be doing that in 2024. Honestly,
yeah,
that's
well,
such a great
it should
idea.
be, absolutely, it should be area. So it, her very being imprinted itself on corporate. They understood that double bottom line is important. It's not only how much you make, it's how much an impact you make.
Right.
And that by the way, that translates into real money. Let's not go just woo woo woo. It's real stuff. I practice it in my businesses. This is the essence of doing business. It's the most wonderful way to live. Hello, kindness.
So, hello, my friends. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. We sincerely appreciate you. My friends, I firmly believe that every one of us has an inner kindness hero that is just waiting to be released every day. I'd like to give you a pathway for releasing yours. How? By helping us to flood the earth with as much kindness as possible, to create a global kindemic that spreads love, hope, and happiness. Like and subscribe to each of our social media channels listed in the description, and take out a subscription through Buzzsprout for as little as $10 per month. You can help us to continue to spread the kindemic by bringing you great content here and taking our transformative kindness message to a much broader global audience through the Kindness Factor Human Interest series. Release your inner kindness hero today. Thank you for your support. Isn't that interesting? Oh, Ilya, go ahead. You had something to say.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, so Barry Moses, sure, I'm going to start, that's your middle name from now. I've anointed you. So you take that, what a great role model, first of all, to have that in your mom and then you begin to create with the miraculous recovery that you have with your positivity, which is, I've never met anyone. I mean, I'm a pretty positive guy. I think you give me a run for my money for sure, Barry, if not more. I look up to you, man.
Well, he's also
You
taller
become,
than you, so you have
yeah,
to.
yeah. I mean, and he becomes, I mean, you become really a titan. You're a force to be reckoned with in the sphere of happiness, kindness, service, with your, endless and unbounding enthusiasm. How did you become that?
So I want to mention something before you talk, wonderful Randy. So I urge people, we talked about words. So I love to speak about what I call the 3 fundamentals of life. And this is how we live. I mean, us kids right here now. The 3 fundamentals are, number 1, life has purpose. Hello. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number 2 happens. Now, in this case, good number 2, you go MAD. Now, MAD is a wonderful acronym that stands for make a difference. Look what Randy and Ilya are doing. Hello, you lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in life. And the third is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. So to go to the point you just mentioned, I call it living in a fog. I urge people to live in a fog. What? Force of good. You want to become a force of goodness in the world. Live in a fog. And when you do that, the result will be you will be kind. It's a natural result of living a good, purposeful, powerful, positive life. And kind is an amazing acronym, absolutely fantastic. I call it Keep inspiring noble deeds. That's what it means to be kind. Keep inspiring noble deeds. When you do that, because you want to do good in the world, well, guess what will happen? You'll help create a tsunami of goodness always. That's what these guys are doing. That's what the world kindness movement is about. That's what each individual, you want to do this because you recognize the alternative is dumb. It doesn't work.
I'm going to issue a challenge to you, Barry, since you're the king of acronyms. Try to come up, not right now, but at some point, an acronym for tsunami, because I think that's going to be a good one.
Okay, that is a challenge, but
That is a challenge.
I will tell you, Ilya, since you mentioned Greek word, we'll mention a Roman word, and the Roman word is a toga. Actually, Greek's word toga is also, right?
Yes.
So toga, T-O-G-A, is the acronym I use called a tsunami of goodness always.
Yeah.
There you go.
and you can wear that with you. You can
Yes.
strive to wear that mantra, wear that with you.
That's right. It's so wonderful.
I want to jump back into something you said earlier. You mentioned the word shift, and you elaborated on that word shift. There's two things. When you first came on the podcast, when we first started recording, just your enthusiasm shifted the whole feeling of the podcast in less than 5 seconds. I mean, that feeling of energy, that feeling of, yeah, Barry's here. Barry's in the room. Barry's here. I constantly tell people, and I mean this sincerely totally from my heart, Barry. Every time I talk to somebody about you, I tell them, I say, Barry is the kind of guy you cannot meet him without feeling within 30 seconds after you met Barry, like you just want to give him a hug. You can't not feel that way, because that's just the way Barry is. That's the feeling he brings. And you talk about your dear mother and the example that she set. From what you've described, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like she was the one who caused you to initially have a shift in your own life, shift in the way you saw things, shift in the way you thought about things. Because if you're like any normal child, you had some experiences with bullying. You had some experiences where people made fun of you or said or did things that hurt you.
Right.
And so having her example helped you to be able to see, okay, if she can make it through those challenges, I can do that too. When would you say that really started to impact you and the way that you started doing business when you were young? I mean, you've had your own businesses, you've had your own opportunities. When would you say that really started to impact you, and you realized that, hey, this is going to make the impact in my work and in my life that's going to drive me forward?
So the simple and complex answer is I'm human. So yes, I've been through stuff, just the natural, as you said, growing up. So I will tell you, I wasn't able to articulate it as you're doing now, wonderful Randy, and recognizing, oh, this is what I've learned. This is my model. This is how I'll approach the situation. I can tell you that in those 3 years when I did sell scorecards outside of Fenway Park, 11, 12, and 13, here I am, I'm just a little kid, and I'm selling to people that are coming in by the hundreds and walking by me. And my goal is to sell a paper. In those days, it was 8 cents, a newspaper that had a scorecard in the front of it. And to be able to get 8 cents, which is hard to even imagine for people today. Somebody paying 5, a nickel, and 3 pennies. People give you a dime. Do you want change? No, they don't want. Most people didn't want change. How do you even navigate and handle all that? So yes, I used my mother's energy as a way of doing the following. You ready? It's called listening. I found in my life that listening is an active listening, which is also a great skill, is one of the most important things that people can learn to do. So give you an example. I'm at this corner called Van Ness. I remember, I'm talking 60 years ago. I remember it so well. And I'm there, little kid, and there's a guy, an old wizened black man. I mean, this is a guy from Central Casting. He's has a little bit of a problem with his foot, so he's sitting on a milk crate, an overturned milk crate, and in front of him is a very large table, basically. It's about 6 feet long and 3 feet, 4 feet wide, and on it is roasted peanuts. And he's having put him in bags, and he's going to sell peanuts outside there, and that's how he makes his living and such. So he sees me one day and hawking papers and doing okay and such like that. And he calls me over next time I went to the game a couple of days later, and he says, "Hey, kid, come over here." So I went over. I said, "Yes, sir." 'Cause that's how I was taught, right? He's an older man. "Yes, sir." He says, "Let me hear how you sell your papers." So I told him, "Scorecards, get your scorecards." I'm a little kid, 11, 12 years old, but I have a good voice, and I'm not afraid to speak. He said, "Okay, that's all right. Let me show you something. What's the value of the scorecard?" He said, "Well, you get it now, and if you buy it here for 8 cents, it's 15 cents in the ballpark, and it saves you time, saves you money, and you get the rest of the paper." He said, "Okay, so let's talk about that. Yeah, how about doing this? Tell people 8 cents here, 15 in the ballpark." So try it. I said, "Okay, let's try it. Scorecards, get your scorecards here. 8 cents here, 15 in the ballpark. 8 cents here, 15 in the ballpark." He said, "Okay, you got a good voice. Now you're giving people value." You hear this? He's implanting in me value. He said, "Listen to me how I sell my peanuts.
What a great
Peanuts
lesson,
here,
huh? What a great
right?
lesson for a young boy to learn like
Oh,
that.
this is
Wow.
this is shift. This is
Yes.
shift, everybody." He says, "Peanuts here. Get your roasted peanuts. Um, 3 for a quarter, 15 in the ballpark. 3 for a quarter, 15 cents each in the ballpark." And the guy sold out every time. It was wonderful. So he inspired me. So let me tell you what SHIFT stands for. SHIFT stands for something happening inside, facilitating transformation. Wow. Now, why do I
Wow.
say that?
Man, I
Because what
love your
happens,
acronyms, Barry. Every time I'm with you, every time we talk to you, I learn something new and inspiring.
so the reason we mention it that way is because when people listen to podcasts, they're usually tuning in because they want to be inspired, inspirational. Now, we all know when inspiration happens. Great for the moment, and then that's just what happens with regular situations, right? So if people want to hear new information. Well, information is readily available on the internet. I mean, it's the internet and it's overload oftentimes. You don't get acronyms like you do here, but okay. But really, what people want, Ilya, what people want, Randy, is the T word, transformation.
Yes.
I want to,
Because that's
and
long
again,
lasting. That's why that's long
yeah,
lasting.
that's it. So I told you something that happened to me more than 60 years ago. I can still see him. His name is Elijah, by the way.
Ooh.
I mean, this is an angel sent to me. And in the 3 years that I sold papers, I was there with Elijah almost every single game. I made very good money for a kid. I was averaging what they would call today $30 an hour for 2 hours of work. Plus, I got to
Wow.
see Red Sox game for free because I'm the kid, and it wasn't the Red Sox in the same way they are today. I saw Ted Williams play his last game. I saw Carl Yastrzemski play his first game. The point is what you're asking. These make lasting impressions when you have great role models. Seek out great role models. Be clear on what it is you want to do. Get your purpose. Focus on making a difference. Say, "I'm a mad person. I'm making a difference." Now you're making a difference in the world. And again, remember, thank you. If you learn to say these are the two most powerful words in the English language. Thank you. When you say it 3 times a day, consciously and conscientiously, not just thank you, thank you, thank you. Consciously, conscientiously, you will be transformed. Because remember, thanks stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness. So you see somebody at a grocery store and they're checking out, and you're the buyer and the person at the cash register. You look them in the eye and say, "Thank you." You just shifted the energy.
And also look at their name tag and say thank you, Mary. You do that and you make eye contact and you call them by their name even on your way out, and I guarantee you will get a smile from that person all the time.
And remember what SMILE stands for, everybody, because I live it every day. SMILE stands for seeing miracles in life every day.
I love it.
Seeing
I'm ready to go
miracles.
mad right now. I think I am mad, actually.
Well,
Yeah, you are a madman. You are,
I'm a
Randy.
madman.
You know,
Make
Barry,
a difference.
normally at this point in the show, we'll ask our guests to drop 3 pearls of wisdom. Well, you've already dropped about 50. So
I
we
know.
don't even need to go there. But we do want to, it's time, the time has come, we need to wrap up because we need to finalize the show. But I want to ask you if our audience wants to reach you now. Well, okay. I need to get one little tidbit in here because this is important. People need to hear about Einstein Cares.
Yes, let's do that.
Give
Let's
us a
do this
1
first.
minute, a 1 minute summary of
Yeah,
what
because I don't even know what Einstein Cares is. So please,
Einstein. Tell us about what Einstein
educate us.
Cares is and why
Yeah.
you established it.
Okay. So I told everybody I was a quadriplegic for years. Thank God, if you're looking at this, you'll say, wow, he's healed. Okay, I can't get up from the chair. I'm still paralyzed from the waist down. In addition to everything else, I learned how to swim. And I now swim 2 miles a day, 6 days a week. And I've been doing it for 14 years.
Amazing.
Okay. Why am I telling everybody? To get the sympathy vote? Yes. And to tell you something else. My wife challenged me on something. I told her I had an idea while I was protoplasm, just laying in bed. I wanted to find a way, because I've been very successful in business. I wanted to find a way to build a platform where people could give money to something they care about, and it wouldn't cost anybody a penny. My wife said, well, you're smart. Figure it out. She walked out of the room. Now, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just paralyzed. I meditated for 3 days. I thought about, I envisioned exactly what it's supposed to do. The tech wasn't there. It's taken the ensuing 13 years since that moment to begin to build the platform. The mission of this amazing place called Einstein Cares, named for that guy, the white hair, smartest guy in the world for the past 100 years. He wasn't just a genius, he was also very heart-centered. So we call Einstein.
And you know something, a lot of people forget about that. Like they always think, oh, we always talk about his intellect, his amazing intellect and so on. But actually, Einstein was a very spiritual and heart-centered human being. So I'm really glad you brought that up, Barry.
Thank you, because we touch the 2 deepest emotions in human. I'm smart and I'm good.
Yeah.
Smart. How about going shopping and getting cash back? Good. How about shopping and giving money to something you care about? It didn't cost you anything. So our mission is so clear and simple. Our mission is to give $1 billion to charity without costing any giver a penny. How do you do that, Barry Shore? Everybody should go to EinsteinCares.com, sign up, you'll see the little video. We partner with businesses that give us a percentage for sending them customers. Everybody wants that. And so as an example, let's say a restaurant says, okay, we'll give Einstein Cares 6%. Great. So we now share 2% cash back to you when you go to the restaurant. 2% goes to the charity of your choice, and 2% comes to Einstein Cares for running the business. And you use your existing credit card. Nothing changes. We, thank God, have thousands and thousands of businesses on the system already. We're about to launch in the next few weeks. We have partnerships with Amazon, with Best Buy, with Starbucks, with Home Depot, and thousands of brands. Everyday shopping. So we urge people, join Einstein Cares, support something you care about. You'll get cash back. You give money, doesn't cost anything. We want this to be a tsunami of goodness always. EinsteinCares.com.
All right. Barry, thank you so much for taking the time to share that with us. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for shifting our day, making it much brighter, much happier, lighting up the show, lighting up the world with your wonderful enthusiasm, with your wonderful kindness. We just, I can say this from our hearts. Both Elia, I can speak for Elia and I when we say this. We love you, Barry Shore, and we appreciate you. We thank you for sharing your amazing heart and kindness with us.
Well, back at you, kids. Can we do a big hug with thousands of people and a blessing?
Absolutely.
We can, and furthermore, I promise you, I've already gone mad. I'm going to be mad the rest of my life.
That's a shift, everybody.
Amen,
He kept that F in place.
Yeah.
So hug again stands for heartfelt, unlimited
Yes.
Giving. 1, 2, 3.
Big hug, big hug.
Big hug, Barry. Yes.
And our
Thank you, my
blessing
friend.
from Ilya and Randy and Barry is go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love.
Oh my gosh, such
Oh,
a joy
man.
every single time. I mean, I think for Randy and I, our day is already made, and it's first thing in the morning here. So everything else that happens the rest of the day is the icing on the cake because we're already mad. We've
Yeah.
made a difference, all three of us. So thank you, Barry,
so
for
much.
inspiring us and for it's beyond inspiration. You're totally. That's my biggest takeaway from today, Barry, is that the inspiration is good, but transformation is better because it's long lasting.
Amen to that. Thank you so much again, Barry. And thank you to our audience for taking the time to listen today. I want to invite you to take the time, just a few minutes after you've listened, to take the time to sit and think, what did I learn today? How is it applicable to me? And what am I going to do about it? What am I going to go forth and do and change? How am I being transformed today? And how am I going to work to transform somebody else? Think about those things.
Just
Remember,
go mad. That's all.
as,
Just go mad.
yep. And as you
Make a
go forward
difference.
through your week, remember, with kindness,
Everybody wins. Everybody wins, Barry.
Thank you very much.